Welcome back to another episode of SmoothBrainEDH, where we make the smoothest plays with the biggest brains. We're back to showcase more of the new commanders from Wilds of Eldraine this week, so let's see what everybody brought to the table. Our first player today is Seth on Beluna Grand Squall. This teamer deck is all about the adventure mechanic, using its commander to refill the hand and reduce the cost of adventure cards. Up next is Cody on Talion, the Kindly Lord. This Dimir deck is a fairy typal deck, with some control elements, using Talion as a card advantage engine. Third today is Matt on Rowan, Scion of War. This Rakdos deck is focused around dealing itself damage, then using Rowan's ability to create a huge mana discount on powerful red and black spells to overwhelm opponents. Last up is Sam on Yenna, Red Tooth Regent. This is a Selesnya deck focused around auras, using Yenna to create auras and draw cards when Sam's creatures get in for damage on his opponents. We're about to hop right into the game, but before that, please go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We have links to our social media, our public Discord server, Decklists, and our Patreon in the description. We're also partnered with Dragon Shield. Check out our affiliate link in the description if you're looking to pick up any sleeves, deck boxes, or playmats. Now, on to the gameplay.
It looks like Sam is the winner of the die roll, and he starts off with Yavimaya into Carpet of Flowers. The turn is then passed to Seth, and he plays Command Tower into Soul Ring, and then he passes to Cody, who plays Secluded Glen and passes. And then Matt will play Bloodstained Mire and fetch for a Badlands with it and pass while searching. Sam will play a Plains and pass. Seth plays a Mountain and he'll tap it for a green thanks to Yavimaya. Then he taps his Soul Ring and casts Nature's Lore, still having one colorless floating. His Nature's Lore finds a Ketria Triome. Then he'll cast Passionate Archaeologist and pass the turn to Cody, who plays an Island, and then he'll tap for 2 and cast Can't Wake Up, targeting Matt. And the only thing he mills that matters later is Keen Duelist. The turn is then passed to Matt, and he'll play a Mountain into Stormfist Crusader, and then he passes the turn to Sam, who will make a white off of Carpet of Flowers at the beginning of his main phase, and then he'll play a Castle Garenbrig as land for turn. He'll then tap out and cast his commander, Yenna. Then he passes to Seth, who will start off by tapping for 5 and casting Seek Thrills. He'll mill 7 cards, then any adventures in those 7 gets put to his hand.
Moonshade Pixie, Wooded Foothills, Forest, Embereth Shieldbreaker, Steam Vents, Llanowar Elves, one last one, and Amethyst Dragon.
So Seth gets 3 to his hand, and then he'll play a Forest as land for turn and cast Birds of Paradise, then pass the turn to Cody, who plays Shipwrecked Marsh, and then he'll cast the Soul Ring he top decked. And then we see Talion hit the field, and when they hit the field, the chosen number is 3. The turn is then passed to Matt, and on upkeep, everybody draws and loses a life. Matt then plays City of Brass as land for turn, then he'll tap for 3 and cast Rowan, and he loses a total of 3 life between the City of Brass and Talion, and Cody draws a card. He'll then move to combat and hit Sam for 2 menace, and then he'll pass to Sam. Sam starts off by making a white with Carpet of Flowers, then he'll play Wirewood Lodge, then he'll use 3 mana to cast the best aura of all time, Armadillo Cloak. Talion trigger, and then Sam will activate Yenna to make a copy of Armadillo Cloak, which will also attach to Yenna, and because it's an aura, she untaps, and Sam gets to scry 2. And he'll keep both of them on top. Sam will then point his 8 power commander at Seth. And Seth just takes all 8 commander, and because of double Armadillo Cloak, Sam gets to gain 16. And then the turn is passed to Seth. And he'll start off by tapping for Temur and casting Beluna. There's a Talion trigger, and there's no Passionate Archaeologist trigger this time. Then Seth will play a tap Stomping Ground as land for turn. He'll then tap for 2 and cast Sand Augury, putting his young blue dragon on an adventure, and he'll scry 1 to the bottom and draw a card. Then the turn is passed to Cody. He starts off with a basic Swamp as land for turn. He'll then just move to clean up and discard 2 islands. Then the turn is Matt's. And on his upkeep, everybody draws and loses a life. Then Matt will play a Mana Confluence as land for turn. Then he'll tap his Mana Confluence and City of Brass, losing 2 life, for double black. Then he'll activate Rowan to make all of his red and black spells cost 3 less. After this, he taps a Mountain and casts a 1-mana Treasonous Ogre. There's a Talion trigger because it's got 3 toughness. Matt will then pay 18 life to float 6 red mana, and with it and the floating black, he'll cast Blood for the Blood God. Unfortunately for Matt though, Cody's got the Swan Song, and he counters it. So Matt gets a 2/2 bird, and now fizzled out, he'll pass to Sam. And Sam starts off by making a green with Carpet of Flowers. Then he'll cast 3 Blind Mice, Talion trigger, and when ETBs he gets a cute little mouse token. After this, he'll activate Yenna and make a token copy of 3 Blind Mice, which will make him another mouse. The turn is then passed to Seth, and he starts off with a forest. He'll then cast Crystal Shard, which triggers Talion, and then Young Blue Dragon, which will trigger Talion again since it's a 3/3, and also Passionate Archaeologist, which hits Sam for 5. Seth then attempts to pass the turn, but Cody stops on instep to cast Free the Fae. He'll mill 4 cards, and then return Una, Queen of the Fae, from among them to his hand. He'll then move to his turn and play a basic island as land for turn. After this, he casts Talisman of Dominance, and then a Cloud of Fairies, untapping the 2 lands he used to cast it. The turn is then passed, and on upkeep, everyone loses a life and draws a card. Matt will then play another mountain as land for turn, then he channels a Takenuma.
Just because Rakdos' turn, and Heartless Hidetsugu.
Are the cards he mills, and then he returns Keen Duelist to his hand. He'll then tap his City of Brass for a black, activate Rowan to make spells cost 2 less, and then he'll cast the Keen Duelist for 1. Matt will then attempt to pass the turn, but Seth stops on instep to activate Crystal Shard. He targets Yenna, and Sam can't pay the 1, so Yenna's bounced to his hand. And unfortunately, both of the Armadillo Cloaks go as well. We'll then move to Sam's turn, and after he draws, his 2/3 blind mice go to Chapter 2, which makes a copy of a target token, and since one of his 3 blind mice is a token, he'll make 2 copies of it. And when they enter the battlefield, they hit Chapter 1 and make 2 more mice. Then Sam plays a forest as land for turn. He then remembers Carpet of Flowers, and he'll float 2 green now that Cody has 2 basic islands. He'll then tap for 5 and activate Castle Garenbrig to float 6 mana. He'll then use 1 of the white mana, and then 3 of the green to cast Yenna again. Then he'll use 2 of it to cast Timber Paladin. He'll then cast a Shram. And then the turn is passed to Seth. And he'll play an island as land for turn. Then he'll cast the adventure Explosive Crystal. He'll have 2 damage go at Shram, 1 at Timber Paladin, and 1 at Cloud of Fairies, and they'll all die. Seth will then tap for 5, and then cast the Amethyst Dragon from exile. Passionate Archaeologist trigger, and it hits Sam for 6. Seth will then move to combat, and hit Cody for 4 in the air, and Cody just takes it. He'll then move to pass the turn, but Cody stops on instep to cast Infernal Grasp, then he'll cast Sea Double to copy it and a creature. And Matt has 10 in his graveyard, so yes, he can choose both modes. The 2 Infernal Grasps will hit Yenna and Rowan, and then he'll make a copy of Amethyst Dragon. And he also loses 4 life from his 2 Infernal Grasps. And then Cody will move to his turn. He starts off by playing a basic island, and then he'll cast Cruel Somnophage from its adventure. And it's an 8/8 because there's 8 creatures in graveyards. Cody will then tap for 2 and cast Phantasmal Image, and he makes another Amethyst Dragon with it. Then he'll cast Crackling Counterpart to get yet another one. He'll then move to combat and swing for 12 in the air at Sam, who has to just take it. The turn is then passed to Matt, and everyone draws a card and loses a life on upkeep, and then Keen Duelist will target Seth. Seth reveals a Chaos Warp, and Matt a Swamp, so Matt has to lose 3 life. Then Matt will play the Swamp as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 6 mana, and he takes 1 from his City of Brass, and he taps his Mana Confluence for a green as a forest, and then he'll pay 3 life to Treasonous Ogre to cast Rune-Scarred Demon. He takes a good long look at every card in his list and can't seem to find a way out of this situation. So he finds and shocks in a Blood Crypt, which, as you know, will kill him, so Matt's out of the game. And so that means the turn is now Sam's. And at the beginning of his pre-combat main phase, he has a lot of triggers. 4 sagas tick up, and all 4 create a token that's a copy of a token you already control. So he makes 4 more copies of 3 blind mice, which will make him 4 more mice. And his Carpet of Flowers will also make him 2 white mana. He'll then play a Canopy Vista as land for turn, and then Cody realizes that his Cruel Somnophage went down a power because Matt's dead. And then Sam will cast Yenna again. He'll then move to combat and swing 4 mice at Cody. He'll block 2 to kill him, and then he'll take 2. And then the turn is passed to Seth. And he'll start off with a Lucky Clover. Honestly, probably the best card in his deck. After this, Seth will cast Stomp, targeting Talion. Lucky Clover will trigger, copying it, and the other copy also targets Talion, and when they both resolve, Talion dies. Seth will then cast Fertile Footsteps, and it also gets copied, and with them he finds 2 mountains to the battlefield. And then the turn is passed to Cody. Before he does anything on his turn though, he and Seth have a discussion about how to best deal with Sam. And Cody says he'll swing his 12 power in the air if Seth does everything he can on his turn to kill Sam. And Seth says he definitely will. So Cody moves to combat, and he swings for 12 in the air at Sam. And then the turn is passed, and oh boy, we have a lot more saga triggers. So 2 of them will end, and each of them give Sam's creatures +1/+1 in vigilance. Then 6 of them trigger to make a token copy of a token, and he makes 6 more 3 blind mice. So he gets 6 more mice as well. And then Sam will cast Cosmic Rebirth. He declares Armadillo Cloak as his target, and there's a Talion trigger. Cody will respond by channeling Otawara to bounce Yenna. Then Cosmic Rebirth resolves, and Armadillo Cloak is attached to one of the 3/3 mice with Vigilant. After this, Sam will cast Sage's Reverie, which draws him 2 cards upon ETB. Sam will then play a Plains' land for turn, and then he'll cast Generous Gift, targeting the big graveyard boy. Talion trigger. Sam will then move to combat, and he swings everything at Cody. He does forget about Vigilance, but I don't think it ends up mattering in the end. Cody moves to blocks, and he puts Talion in front of one of the 3/3s to kill it, and then his 3/3 elephant goes in front of the big 7/7, and 4 will trample over. So he takes a total of 22 damage, and Sam gains 7. The turn is then passed to Seth, and he casts Petty Theft. Lucky Clover trigger, and it'll get a copy. One copy will target the Phantasmal image, so it sacrifices itself, and the other will target a copy of Amethyst Dragon. Cody's not very happy with this, but Seth said he can still kill Sam. And then still on end step, Seth will activate Crystal Shard to bounce the other copy of Amethyst Dragon. After this, we'll move to Seth's turn, where he casts Grove's Bounty, X is equal to 7, and it's copied, so his Amethyst Dragon will get 14 +1/+1 counters. Seth will then Crystal Shard Cody's commander, then he moves to combat, and he swings for 18 in the air at Sam, and then 7 at Cody. There are no responses or blocks around the table, so that means this attack was for the win. Now that I'm looking at it, Cody's life total actually doesn't match the one on screen, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me why that happened, so I looked through all the footage and found it. When he casted and copied the Infernal Grasp, there was a lot of talk around the table about what he should hit. There was a lot of talk in the background too from people who weren't playing, so he forgot to take the 4 life from it, meaning Cody thinks he's at 1 here, which means you guys get a bonus turn. Don't worry, Seth still wins. On this said bonus turn, Cody just casts and kicks a Rite of Replication, targeting Amethyst Dragon, giving him 5 4/4s with flying and haste, which he'll use to put Seth to 2, and then he passes to Seth, who just casts a card from exile, and his Passionate Archaeologist triggers and kills Cody. So yeah, it didn't matter in the end, but I wanted to give you guys a little bonus content. So there you have it. Seth goes on a grand adventure and wins the game.
Hey you! Yeah, you! Magic the Gathering is an extremely expensive game, and several of us here at SmoothBrainEDH have made some poor financial decisions. And as you all know, we're going to Vegas for MagicCon soon. So we thought we'd celebrate with you, the viewer, by allowing you to benefit off of our bad decisions. So we are doing a massive giveaway, and it'll have 5 tiers of winners. The first winner will win a serialized 447 Gigantha, and second will get a whole Mana Crypt. And there's a ton of other great cards to be won by the other winners as well. Each winner will also receive a custom SmoothBrainEDH playmat, box of sleeves, and our custom treasure tokens. We're giving away over $1,000 worth of cards and products, so even if you don't win the top prize, you'll definitely walk away happy with what you got. Go check out our link down in the description or in the pinned comment, and you can see exactly what is in the other tiers. And while you're down there, why don't you enter the giveaway? Anyways guys, that's all for now. I'm signing off. I hope you have a smooth day.